You are listening to the Lawyer Stories podcast with host Benny Gold. Lawyer Stories was founded in July 2017 and is an expanding global network of lawyers and law students sharing their personal journeys to the noble profession of the practice of law. Join us on this podcast as we dig deeper into these stories and hear from lawyers and law students from around the world in all areas of the legal profession. Here at Lawyer Stories, we believe that every lawyer has a story. What's yours?
Welcome to the Lawyer Stories podcast with Benny Gold, episode 55. Today we welcome in SaraEllen Hutchison, Seattle Tacoma trial lawyer, practicing in consumer rights, and coach for women lawyers. How are you today?
Great. How are you?
Good. Thanks for asking. So here's a fun fact before we get going. You're like an original Lawyer Story person, original person in the community. We actually featured you on Lawyer Stories Instagram. This is before I even launched the Facebook page, because that was like a year later. But this was 10/10/17. That was a while back. So you were one of the original people to believe in what we were doing, and you emailed me your story. I went back and I read it today. And a lot could happen in over 3.5 years. So thank you so much on behalf of myself and Lawyer Stories for sending me your story and following along. And now here you are.
It's really exciting. I like the project. It's cool how you've grown, and the human story behind every lawyer, every person, every one of our clients is what's most interesting. Yeah,
it's unique. It's what makes us all, right? We all have a unique story. As you do, you've done a lot of awesome things in the past 3.5 years since we've shared your story. You've resubmitted an updated story, and we haven't gotten you yet on the feed. We're going to do that hopefully in the next few days. An update from 3.5 years ago. But you start off with your new story. It was pretty interesting, and you said you decided you wanted to go to law school you started off saying you wanted to go to law school because you decided dancing on a cruise ship was not for you. So I thought that was kind of a fun thing, and I wanted to hear more about that.
It's true. I have a performing arts background. I did quite a bit of it. And in 2001, I was done with college, and I kind of wanted to see if I could pursue the performing arts for a while. And I did some non-equity, musical theater and I was kind of I don't know if I want to go to New York. Maybe I should do this cruise ship thing. It's kind of way to get in a little bit. And then 9/11 happened.
Oh, wow.
And everybody thought, travel was over, entertainment might be over. It was nobody knew what was going to happen. And I was still on this path. I was I'm going to take a cruise ship job. And only the bigger cruise lines were really still, thriving at that point.
Right.
And everybody said, don't work for a particular one that I'm just not going to name. And so, of course, that's the one that called me with a job. And of course, I did it anyway, because I was well, maybe I won't get.
And this is right. Was this right after college?
This was 2 years after college.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So you were doing something in performance arts, and then you got a call back from a cruise ship, a major cruise ship. And
cruise ship, yeah.
Where were you at the time? What state were you in? Were you out in Washington?
I was in Spokane.
Spokane. Okay.
Yeah, Spokane, Washington, and I was working in Spokane and in Coeur d'Alene. Yeah.
So did you do it? So did you
yeah.
go down?
You did. I went down there. I was on the boat, and what I saw were what I thought were inappropriate working conditions.
Okay.
For a person.
Yeah, so to go with that, and just to stop you right there, it's kind of interesting. I've been on one cruise in my life out of Miami, Cozumel, and Key West with one of my best friends. This was years ago. And I always like wondered what like went on like under the deck where like everybody just like eats good food, and then you have like the people who work there, and like what happens like underneath, like where the sleeping quarters are, and like where all the workers and employees eat. I mean, maybe that's like another podcast. I think it might be another like show.
I don't know, like maybe an Upton Sinclair novel.
Okay.
Maybe not that bad, but I was like, this
Okay.
is not my peer group.
All right, so not for you. How long did you end up there for? Like what? How long?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Did they turn the ship around and like take you back, or was that just?
No, I said leave me in Miami.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And then I walked off of the ship and flew back to the Northwest and started applying for law school.
That's awesome. There you go. That's amazing. So you said and back in 2017, like so that's the way you kind of started your recent story. But back in 2017, you told us that you were applying for a used truck, like a loan, and somebody like the Social Security, you were denied, and it was only because the Social Security numbers got messed up between you and somebody else. So I just didn't know if that was around the same time.
No.
Okay. All right.
I was out of law school. I had graduated. I had passed the bar in Washington. I had taken the bar in Alaska, and I was awaiting my results, and I'd moved up there, and I needed a vehicle, and so got this used truck, and I went down to the credit union to get the loan for the truck, and I was already banking there, and I thought, there's no reason why I won't be able to get this loan.
Right.
And because I wasn't delinquent on anything, and all I had were my student loans, and it was like taking forever. And
Okay.
And this is, one of those grocery store banks where you go into the grocery store and it's sort of like open air. And so whatever is going on, everybody in the store can.
Right.
Not that they really care. They're
It's
just
like the
walking
service
by.
desk, like everybody sees.
Right.
It.
Totally.
Yeah.
And so, like, we can't lend you. You have a collection. I'm like, what? What collection? And it's like, oh yeah, it's with the New Mexico Teachers Credit Union. And I was like, I've never been to New Mexico. As of this day, I have still not been to New Mexico.
Right.
And
well, that's because you have like, PTSD from this whole situation.
Right. I can't go.
Right. You can't
Too
go.
Scary. But I actually really do want to go. It's on my bucket list. But some creditor in New Mexico had transposed 2 digits of one of their customers' social security numbers.
Okay.
When they reported it as a collection to the credit reporting agencies. And so it went on to my credit report, because then the false social security number for this other person happened to be mine.
Right.
And so they got it sorted out and did what's called a rapid rescore on the spot. A few hours later, I leave with my truck loan and everything is fine.
Okay.
But it was embarrassing and stressful because I was there with the person who was selling me the truck, who was kind of like, knew some other people that I knew, and like, what kind of person do y'all think I am?
Yeah.
And I had no idea that I would end up practicing Fair Credit Reporting Act law.
Right.
But it left such an impression on me that even something that was just, a couple hours of a problem and it got fixed on the spot, how my heart pounded, how I felt floods of shame in my body,
Sure.
How I felt helpless and frustrated and embarrassed. I mean, imagine living with that for months or years at a time. And, a lot of my clients live with things like that for months or years at a time.
Now, was that one of the reasons that you went into that practice?
I was already doing consumer protection work. I was doing a lot of debt collection defense, like zombie debts. Have you heard of those? It's where it's like It's where, you know, like a credit card goes into default and then they package them up and then they sell them, you know, to a junk debt buyer. And then the junk debt buyer is like, wow, you know, I paid 4 cents for this, you know, $100 debt. I'm going to go sue people and get judgments. Won't that be fun?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so I was doing that work because usually they don't really have enough proof to show that they have standing to even be in court.
Right.
So I was doing that work in kind of the aftermath years following the Great Recession. And most of the people were saying like, you know, I'm really concerned about this on my credit. And I'm a member of the National Association of Consumer Advocates, NACA. And I went to NACA and NCLC conference and, you know, just started learning about all these other aspects of consumer law and, you know, heard a couple speakers speak on the Fair Credit Reporting Act. And I was like, that's it.
That's it.
That happened to me. I'm going to do that.
Yeah. Here you go.
And
so that's when you decided what type of law to go into. But like, what about that? Did you have a moment when you were like, I'm going to be a lawyer? That was like after the cruise ship, but like what kind of made you want to decide to take that route?
Honestly, it was a journalism law class in college.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so funny, like I think everybody does this, but like you associate with some of your major life decisions with what was going on in the world or what was going on in the country at the time.
Okay.
And I was a journalism major during the Monica Lewinsky scandal.
Interesting.
And so class consisted of watching the news and watching all this BS about, you know, Clinton and Lewinsky, what happened and did he lie and blah, 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 blah. And that was kind of, I feel like that was a turning point in American culture. Okay. Where the sort of bubbling partisan divisiveness kind of went, you know? And I was like, I don't know if I want to be a journalist. Okay. You know, this is kind of
interesting.
Tacky. You know what I mean? And so I had this journalism law class. I was like, wow, this is fascinating. And I got an A. I think I got the best grade. I can't remember. And that's what put the kernel of the idea in my head. Okay. And then of course, you know, I don't practice First Amendment law, but I think I have the most interesting area of the law. So
yeah, no, that's awesome. You got to really be passionate. It seems like you're passionate about what you do, especially, you know, you went through a situation too that sort of you can connect with, you know, when you see your clients and everything. And I think that's like very important. So what was your first job after law school? Like before you got into, we're going to talk about your practice in a bit, but like, did you go right into being an entrepreneur, or like what kind of job did you take after law school, and how many jobs did you have before you launched into your business?
I was really young and I had trouble finding my place. Yeah. And I ended up going solo 5 years out of law school.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was admitted in 2005, and then I went solo in 2010.
Wow. So how many?
And so being self-employed is the longest I've had any job.
There you go. So did you have one job after law school for 5 years or two? Or?
No, I had a few different jobs, and a couple of them were, you know, some contract work. I tried prosecution. I didn't like that. I tried defense. I didn't like that. Criminal law. I didn't like either side of criminal law. And I was just not a great fit for that. But I greatly admire the people who do, you know, practice in criminal law. And And then in, like the Great Recession, I was like, doing, I was a municipal lobbyist for an environmental group.
Okay.
And then I did some fundraising after that. And then just got to the point where I was like, I need to be practicing law. I need to find out where I fit. I
Right.
have to figure this out.
I think that's so important. Like trying to figure out like where you fit. I mean, you did the prosecution defense stuff. You realized you didn't like criminal law, and then you had to figure it out. I mean, did you have a mentor or anything along the way?
I kind of fell into consumer law. I decided to start a solo practice.
Yep.
And I was pretty much willing to do anything but family law.
Okay.
And I made some friends, and there were a couple of people, two different people said, hey, you got to meet my friend Bob.
Okay.
Bob's doing this thing where he's like suing collection agencies, and he's a smart lawyer, and he seems to have a lot of free time. And I was like, well, that sounds cool. I'm a smart lawyer and I really like my free time as well.
There you
So
go.
I became friends with Bob, and Bob was busy, and he's like, here, help me draft some complaints. And I still co-counsel with Bob. Like, he's like a brother to me. I'm
That's
really good
awesome.
friends with him and his wife. And, I have a lifelong friend just by falling into a practice area. Somebody was busy and I was looking for something to do.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you did that while you opened your own firm. Like, is that sort of how you got started? And like, what was that like to decide to open your own firm and become an entrepreneur? Was it like a scary step, or like were you super excited?
I was just ready to do it.
You were ready. You were ready to
Yeah,
do it.
I was just ready. It was just like a line in the sand. I'm not going to work for other people
Yeah.
anymore.
Because I feel like, we go to law school to get our ticket to work for ourselves and to like not have to like be our own bosses, right? Yeah. So what's the toughest part about like running your own business and being an entrepreneur?
The toughest part is getting really good help to answer your phones.
Okay.
I mean, and that's actually like not that big of a deal. Sometimes there's inconsistency
Yeah.
with that, but it's not the end of the world. I don't think any solo should answer their own phone.
Right.
Otherwise, you would then just be like,
Yeah. No, I understand that. I hear what
you'd
you're
be
saying.
like Psychic Friends Network all day helping people.
Yeah.
And, it would just be like being, the free therapist all day if you answered your own phone. And you would just, I did in the beginning, and I just found myself exhausted. But
I bet.
I promptly call back anybody who, looks like they have a good case, and I'm the one who talks to them, and I'm the one who screens
Sure.
the case. You get me.
Yeah, no, that's great. But do you have somebody answering your phones now?
I use an answering service.
Oh, that's
yeah.
That works though, right?
It's we're working it out.
That's good. So I read on your website, and I like this a lot, and I want to know what this means to you, because I believe it. I believe this based on your stories and based on your life experience. Like, so what does being known as a tenacious, thorough, and compassionate litigator mean to you?
Oh my gosh.
I know that's a lot to break down.
Yeah, I basically asked one of my good friend and colleague folks to say, what would you say about me? And then I just put it on my website. You don't have to be aggressive to get the job done.
Okay.
You can just be firm.
Right.
And keep going and keep doing what's right.
Okay. So
yeah.
Does your job, it involves like a lot of like demand letters maybe, or no? Like, is that?
No,
No, maybe I'm thinking of the other side of things, sort of. I'm thinking of elections, I think.
I serve complaints. I don't do
Yeah.
a high volume of work.
Are you in court a lot?
Most of my cases are in federal court.
Okay.
And so, I don't have like a ton of court appearances,
Okay, gotcha.
but it's definitely a lot of litigation, a lot of depositions, that sort of thing.
So your motto, you have a motto.
I do.
It's truth, justice, and vacation.
Yeah.
I could certainly use vacation, but so what do you mean by that?
You have to have a balanced life.
Yeah. So,
I know that I'm a better lawyer for my clients and am more emotionally invested in winning for them and getting them a good result and knowing their story inside and out when I am well rested and I have other things going on other than burning the midnight oil
right.
on litigation.
Right. Yep. Yeah. So you
more
need
sustainable that way. I would much rather see somebody work at a sustainable pace over 30 years and help 1,000 people than work at an unsustainable pace over 5 years and help 750 people.
Yeah.
Maybe you helped more people in a shorter period of time, but then where are you?
Right. So when you say vacation, are you talking about like a full-blown vacation? Like what has been your last vacation?
My last vacation, I went skiing in July.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
The ski, and you're a big Atlanta Braves fan, which
I am.
I remember the days of like Dale Murphy and Ron Gant. For some reason, we used to get that on the TV up Northeast. We get like, Braves games. And like, I don't know, I just remember all the guys like from the early 90s. But
that was a great era.
Yeah, that was fun. So okay, you went skiing. You went skiing where?
Mount Hood in Oregon.
Wow.
It's at 8,500 feet, and just at that level, there's snow, and it was actually pretty good snow.
Yep.
But they started around 9 a.m. I think there was sometimes around 7, but it was closed for like the kids who were practicing, the competitive racers, and so we started around 9 a.m. and then went for 3-4 hours.
Wow.
And then it gets kind of sticky, at that point in the day.
Yeah, definitely. Then you could throw snowballs a little bit.
But that was a vacation, like a miniature vacation. You drive to it, you're there for a couple days, you stay in the old hotel.
Yep.
Did you know that the lodge at Timberline is the one used in the outside shots in the movie The Shining?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, and that's where you stayed.
Yeah.
Nice.
But when you go in, it's not, the same as the inside shots. I wish that it were.
Gotcha. Okay.
But it's not.
I got you. So okay, back to your career here. You are. So I want to ask this question because people tend to procrastinate, but I feel like you have a time management system.
Mm-hmm.
That's best for and I think like all of our viewers could like definitely benefit from that. So tell us about the time management system that is best for procrastinators.
Well, you need to not have a to-do list.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
You got to get your to-do list, and because when you look at it, the entire thing screams at your brain that everything is equally important and on fire.
Okay.
Yeah.
But how about like I would forget everything though?
You don't forget it. You just take it and you put it in your calendar, and then your calendar is like the basket that then holds everything that you need to do. So
you're looking at it differently than a to-do list.
Right.
You're looking at it like, okay, well, this I have to do today. This is an appointment. I have an appointment with doing a deposition or like doing the legal research for this. Okay, that makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah, because you have to, that step of just taking it off of this sort of running to-do list, which kind of triggers your brain to think, woe is me, my work is never done.
Right.
It triggers your brain into thinking that, you never get anything done. And if you put it on your calendar and you actually stick to your word and do it when you say you're going to do it, then you have that satisfaction of like looking at what you did accomplish.
Yeah, I think I gotta maybe try that, because I just cross stuff off the list and it kind of
Yeah.
feels good, but that's a
Well,
different.
it still feels good to like take your pen and like cross something off.
Oh yeah, I've been taking like a Sharpie and crossing it off. After I write it in pen, you take a Sharpie and just
print out your calendar and get all your Sharpies and scratch it all out.
Yeah.
It's just the biggest thing that I work with people on when I'm not in my law practice. I have this whole other business where
Yes,
I am a life coach. Yeah.
I want to talk about that. I want to tell you. No, let's go into that now. So
yeah.
Before you brought it up, I wanted to congratulate you, because I think that's something you've been working on very hard on your business,
thank you.
You've been working very hard on it. And I don't mean to stop you, but I just, I know you're coaching like women attorneys. Is that where you're going? Yeah. So congrats on that. That's awesome. So I want to hear about that.
Thank you. Yeah. It's very mission based.
Yeah.
It allows me to be an advocate for women by making them get to that point where they are happier and managing their time better so that they can do other things other than feeling like they're oppressed by their work.
How did you get into that? How did you get into that? And when did you get into that?
I'd been aware of coaching for a while and, had some of my own coaching and benefited from it. And then I decided to get certified through the life coach school. So some of the time management stuff that I teach about taking your to-do list, putting on a calendar, is a method that I learned there. But there's other aspects and wrinkles to it that I have developed, for lawyers and, teach those as well. But what I was saying is the primary thing that I end up coaching people on is managing their emotions. Because you can have all the systems in the world and like, yeah, I color coded my calendar, and then I got my Trello thing over here and it's all organized and I have all the pretty different colors of Sharpies. It's all set up. And then when it comes time to do the thing, a lot of people, they don't want to do the thing.
Really? Okay.
Yes. People are like, oh, I don't want to do the thing. And all of a sudden, something else is, if that appellate brief isn't due for 21 days. I need to wash my car. I really should order new flooring. Cat video. I should watch cat videos for a while.
For a long time. Yeah. Get sucked into that.
People, then they look up and they're like, if they're counting billables, they have like an expectations. I count my time because I do fee shifting work, but you look up and you're like, where did my day go?
Right.
Where did it go?
Yeah, it goes. Yep.
You chose to spend your time in ineffective ways. And it's not because you're a bad person or undisciplined. It's just you have little voices going on in your head that say, I don't want to, or I can't. It's usually some little kind of voice that generates a feeling, an emotion of resistance to doing the thing. And when you think about doing the thing, you might have this picture in your brain of like Bob Cratchit and just going, oh, this is so onerous. I need to shop for shoes and,
right.
My Amazon pantry box, it's not full yet. I need to do something else. We find all different ways to do other things because we're unwilling to feel the discomfort of just getting started.
Right.
It's usually really, really simple. And, you know, especially like a lot of women lawyers are perfectionistic, you know, kind of that goody two shoes
Right.
type.
Right.
I mean, I that's kind of an insulting term, but I say that because I'm sort of one of them, right?
So how do you like
And
overcome that and the imposter syndrome? I know that was something we were going to talk about, like overcoming perfectionism and imposter syndrome and that sort of thing. Like you're mentioning, a lot of female lawyers are perfectionists. I do notice that. I mean, maybe not even. I don't want to say just females, but like a lot of lawyers just like things in a specific way.
right.
You know, so how do we work through that?
Well, you aim for doing B plus work.
Could do that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's nothing better than a solid B plus. Tell you that much.
I know, right? Right.
Especially
There's
in law school.
nothing.
Jeez.
And, but a lot of times, you know, when you sit down, you have some thought, you have some like idea of who you should be, or some idea of who you think the judge is, or some idea of who you think opposing counsel is. And, you know, usually we're putting everybody else up on a pedestal about how smart they are, or how connected they are, or how many resources they have.
Yep.
And we're like, I don't measure up to that. And then we double down on making our thing, my thing's got to be extra good.
Right.
This brief has to be perfect. I can't have a single comma out of place. And when we do that, we actually end up creating the very conditions that we're trying to avoid, because we are taking so much time, and it takes so much more energy to get a completed product. If we find ourselves thinking, oh, you know, I know I need to start on that brief, you know, but I don't really know what direction I want to go with it yet, because I don't really know, you know. There was that one case that came out. Oh man, let me organize the files on my desktop instead.
Yeah. Right. I know.
And we go through this whole like mental flagellation of, you know, I don't know how to do something. And we use that as a reason to either spend way too much time on impertinent aspects of the work, or, you know, or it's cat videos, or something else to avoid the work altogether.
Yep. Yeah, that totally makes sense. So it looks like you picked up some good things in your training to be a coach. Now, are you like, would you say you're doing that as much as you're practicing now?
It's about, you know, let's see. It's about 2/3 law practice, about 1/3 coaching.
That's awesome.
But my capacity through, you know, what I learned to become a coach is my capacity to create things and get things done is just double what it used to be. And I was effective years ago, but I'm busier at everything in a good
awesome.
way.
That's great. Yeah. That's tremendous. So like, if you were talking to a lawyer who was wondering if they were in the right career and wanted to quit, like what would you tell them? How would you handle them?
Well, I would ask them why. Obviously, you know, what about it? And typically when a woman lawyer is thinking about quitting, it's some form of, I'm not feeling supported here.
Right.
This isn't what I thought it was going to be. I don't have enough time for other things. People are too hostile. It's something about this disillusionment and this feeling really at odds with the environment, or feeling like a personality mismatch between yourself and the profession. And I have had all those feelings.
Yeah.
It was a long time ago, but I know firsthand, and very intimately, and also from coaching other women lawyers, is that a lot of the things that make people want to quit actually don't have to change at all for you to be happier.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand.
Because when let's say you have somebody who wants to quit because their caseload is too large and their boss is a jerk.
Okay.
I have too much to do and people are nasty to me.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is there may be situations where you might actually want to leave. If somebody's violating employment laws or something like that.
Right.
And you may just prefer a different environment, but it's really important to take full responsibility for how you're creating your own experience first. And this is not to make anybody wrong, but this is just to say, hey, most of the weather that's going on is between our ears. Most of the environment that we have is our thoughts. Most of the the mean things people are doing are the meanings that we're making about it for ourselves, and then internalizing all that mean stuff. So let's say your boss comes in and says, you should have flunked out of law school. You can't write. And
yeah, that's,
you could take,
I feel like that happens a lot. Like, I feel like I've heard that from people too. Like,
sure,
you even go to law school, like something like that,
Yeah. And you might not want to stay there. That might be one of those places where they run through associates, like, I don't know, like there'll be another one around the corner. You're training your replacement when you're getting fired, kind of thing. Like, those places are out there.
Yeah.
But out of all of the thoughts that you could choose to think about your boss coming in and saying, you should have flunked out of law school, you can't write. A lot of us are like, oh my God, we have disappointed the authority. We have, that's kind of that good little girl in all of us. It's like, I want the teacher to be happy. I want my parents to be happy. I want other people to be happy.
Right.
And then when they show that they're happy with me, then I'll be able to relax. And you get into the law and that's just not there. It's like, not only are we not going to show when we're happy with you, we're going to act like we're super unhappy with you, even when you're trying really, really hard.
Right.
And that's just a lot of.
What is that? Why do people do that in our profession? What's the deal?
I don't know. I remember when I was super new and young, and I would call up my dad, and I'd be like, I can't believe blah 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 blah. And finally, my dad, who's like in construction and real estate, for a lot of his career, is like, the law is the only profession that eats its young, and I'm sorry, I just can't help you with this one. But that's just stuck with me forever. That's just one of the cleverest things a non-lawyer has said to me about the law. It's like, well, yeah, they eat their young.
They do.
Yeah, they kind of do. And so, what are we going to do about it? How do you take care of yourself and put yourself in your own little bubble of I am enough to get through, so that then you can, look up from this misery long enough to go find a better place.
Right. Well,
I've had.
Oh, sorry. No, I was just going to say, like, I feel like a lot of people, like including some of my friends, like they just have a rough go at their first law job. I don't know what it is, but I feel like once you get through that like first 3 years of being in a, because maybe it's a different language. I don't know. Unless you have like a true mentor who cares about your growth as an attorney, yeah, I just feel like everybody's just been not happy at their first law job until they get to their second or third job, and I think they feel more comfortable in the role or something.
Yeah, it's kind of like a built-in hazing, and while I don't think that that is good, and I don't think that that is healthy, that that is still the culture at a lot of places,
Yeah,
I can give people the tools to not let that traumatize them for a long time. Like if you have the ability to manage your mind and not make the stuff mean anything negative about
right.
you,
Yep,
then you're going to have the energy to make them less mad at you
right.
for like lame stuff. And you'll have more energy left over to be like, okay, what do I want? What kind of firm do I want to work for? Do I want to go solo? Do I want to find a different practice area? Do I want to find a different firm to work for? Can I find an ally here at this, particular organization? When you're allowing somebody to, when you're internalizing those kinds of things that you've been told,
Yep,
and you're just taking it as the gospel truth from somebody who says that to everyone,
right.
you're not in a good space to move forward and to look forward.
Yeah, I think I recently heard something actually on social media about trying to just it's almost like you have to battle with your head before you battle with anything exterior. You have to get it right in your head. Like you have to believe it in your mind, before you could even go out and believe, the negativity.
Yeah.
And I think I recently saw something on social media about that. Um, when I was looking at cats or whatnot. No, I'm just kidding. I really wasn't looking at cats. It was probably just down a TikTok hole somewhere. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Just can't stop watching that. So, all right, yeah, that's so tell us about. Do you want to talk more about your coaching or like your practice in the bar there, or like, is there anything? I don't want to
Oh
leave.
my gosh.
I mean, I feel like we covered a lot of ground.
Well, I love practicing law. I love my particular region. I love the Northwest. It's great. I think it's pretty congenial. I mean, there's some tough lawyers, I'm really proud of like, practicing primarily in the Western District of Washington. They really took the lead on dealing with COVID and
Okay. How was that for you? The whole
yeah, I had stuff get continued, and I did my first Zoom trial
Okay.
back in May. That was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What was that like? What was that like?
At that point I had done so many other kinds of Zoom, hearings and depositions and everything that I felt pretty good with my setup. But I'm looking forward to getting back to kind of like the old-fashioned in-person.
Do you like going to court? You like being in there and litigating and talking in front of the judge and cross-examine? Like,
Sure.
You're ferocious. I mean, I'm sorry, tenacious.
I'm not ferocious.
But sorry, tenacious, and you're also very compassionate. I love that. That's a great word. So, I think those are two really good, important characteristics that an attorney can have. So, whoever suggested those terms to you must think very highly of your work. So that's terrific. Yeah. So what about the compassionate piece of it? Like tell me about that. Like we talked a little bit about being tenacious or not being tenacious, but like you have to be some sort of have compassion for clients.
I just really like representing people with consumer issues because
Yep.
we are all consumers.
Yeah, that's true.
We all are.
We
all are.
Yep.
If you want to rent a car, if you want to buy a car, if you want to get a cell phone, if you want, insurance, if you want anything, you have to have good credit.
Yep.
You can barely cross the street without good credit.
Really? Well, okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in the military and need to have a security clearance, bad credit, even if it's not yours,
Yeah.
hurt you.
That's true.
I've had clients from all walks of life, and at the heart, the human experience of having to deal with some big computer that doesn't care who you are,
Right.
feels the same.
Yeah.
And so, to use an overused word, I think consumer law is very relatable.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, everybody's a consumer, so we all need to have somebody, protecting consumers. So I think it's very important work that you're doing out there.
Thank you.
Out in the West. That's
Out west, yeah.
Out West. That's great. Cool. So did we leave anything out that you want to talk about?
No, earlier today, I had like an ideal work day.
Really?
I did a mix of, legal work for my clients, getting to talk to a couple of them, talking to opposing counsel, and drafting some things, and then did a coaching call with my women's coaching group and did a master class.
Really?
That was free, called Lawyer Goddess Power.
So wait, is that your podcast or no?
My podcast is Inner Peace for Busy Lawyers.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and that comes out every week. And I speak primarily to women, but it's broadly applicable.
That's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I had a master class that I taught earlier today.
So you taught the master
geared toward
class?
women. Yeah.
What was it? Say what it was called again?
Lawyer Goddess Power.
Yeah. So wow. I love that. Do you have anything I can read? Well, it's for women. I was going to ask if there's something I could read about it, but that's awesome.
You can take the class if you want. It's out there. There's a replay.
Well, I'll think about it.
Yeah.
That's really cool that you're doing, and I can see that's a really cool ideal work day. I mean, you did work for your clients, and you're working on your personal brand, and that's awesome, right?
Yeah, mixture of talking and writing and all the fun things that we get to do as lawyers and get to do when you're coaching too.
So where do you still see yourself in like 5 or 10 years?
Doing the same.
Same thing. All right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm kind of steering my law practice more into doing the trial cases.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you said you help other attorneys do their trials. Like, do they come to you and you do some trials for other people or no?
I just have a select few that I
Perfect.
Work with repeatedly, and we team up on the larger cases.
That's great.
Great.
Awesome. Well,
it's fun to leverage other people's skill sets and talents and everything. And even though I'm really independent, being a self-employed person and very dedicated to my self-employment for 11 years, I still love the teamwork.
Yeah. That's great. So how can everybody get in touch with you if they want to reach out to you?
All right. You can go to my website. If you just go to SaraEllenHutchison.com, it will lead you to everything that I do. You can click on one thing if you're a consumer needing help. You can click on another thing if you're, looking for consumer co-counsel, or you can click on another thing if you are a woman lawyer needing coaching for all things law and life. And my podcast is Inner Peace for Busy Lawyers, and it's about exactly what it sounds like. It's a lot about time management, but like sort of like the inner game of time management.
Yeah. That sounds awesome. I love the title of the name of it, and
Thank you.
we should get that out there some more. So is there anything else? I don't want to leave you with something unsaid.
No, I can't think of anything.
Awesome. Well,
yeah,
it was a pleasure to have you, and I just want to thank you for all of your support throughout these last 3.5 years.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. Like, all this time has passed, and like, we finally meet up on this and on the podcast, and like social media is just incredible like that. It's like you're connected with somebody for all this time. But thank you so much for being here. And if you ever see anybody you want to connect with on Lawyer Stories, I'd be more than happy to do an introduction.
Awesome.
Just reach out to us and just stay right there. And to everybody out there, thanks for tuning in to another episode 55, and wherever you are in the world today, enjoy yourselves. Cheers.
Thank you. Have a good night.